Look, I know we all love seeing the high-end luxury performance race cars. It's the whole reason why we're looking at a lot of these videos, because we want to be able to dream about what is out there. But the reality is, people are buying cars like this more than they are the top-end German luxury super performance cars, which is why it's so important that we do videos on these cars. Our spotlight is on this 2020 Nissan Sentra SR Premium. This is an all-new generation of the Sentra. It's the compact car offered by Nissan here in North America. There are some changes about it that might get you excited about it. First off, the 1.8-liter engine that was on the previous has been replaced. That only had 124 horsepower, 125 pound-feet of torque, which isn't bad overall. New engine is a 2-liter inline-4, provides 149 horsepower, 146 pound-feet of torque. Now, the base model gets a 6-speed manual. The rest of them all use the CVT that we've come to expect from Nissan. One important thing to note about the platform, the chassis of this vehicle, is the previous generation's rear torsion beam has been replaced with a multi-link independent suspension. Now, this is important because almost every other compact car sold in North America now has gone from an independent rear suspension to some sort of torsion beam. So this is the opposite. This is good for ride. This is good for people who actually like to enjoy driving. So keep that in mind. A lot of people moving towards the torsion beam. Nissan has gotten rid of it in favor of the multi-link. Now, we have LED headlights on the higher trims. This has a special set of what they call signature thin lens LED lights. They work pretty well. And the new design flows with the Altima that we featured last year. I have to say, it is a very handsome looking sedan. And this is a really exciting segment to be doing these days because everything is just so good. Think back to my 2006 Ford Focus. If you imagine that car when it was new, there really wasn't much to it. You had power windows, power locks, and air conditioning. But on a car like this, at about $25,000, it comes with quite a lot. There is a lot to go on with these small compact vehicles. Now, the Nissan's Safety Shield 360 comes standard across the Sentra. That comes with emergency braking with pedestrian detection, blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, lane departure warning, high beam assist, and rear emergency braking. Not bad overall. Our SR Premium is fully loaded. You don't have, say, navigation on here like most of the other vehicles offer, and there's no wireless phone charging, but there is one feature on this car that you pretty much won't find anywhere else in the compact sedan segment, and that is a 360-degree camera. That's the same one that we featured before from Nissan. The image quality overall isn't superb, but the fact that it's offered on this segment is pretty good. Now we're going to jump on the inside, talk about the interior and everything else about it when we take it on our road test. So let's get behind the wheel and see what this new entry-level car has to offer. I feel sometimes that we kind of forget what a entry-level vehicle is or what it should be. Now, yeah, I know that there are subcompact cars, even though most of them are dying off after this year in Canada, and city cars, but for the most part, this is still an entry-level car. It's good for a family. You're starting out, maybe it's your first car. They're affordable enough. You know, the price range for these starts in the segment around $19,000 Canadian and can go up to almost $32,000 depending on the type of car. But at about $26,000 Canadian, this is pretty nice. Now, yeah, I mentioned that you don't quite get all the features that you would get from some of the competition, and the price, you know, kind of in line though. As I mentioned, the 360 camera is a plus. It's not bad quality. The fact that it exists is a nice thing. And yeah, I mean, you could nitpick if you really wanted to. You have incandescent light bulbs in here. And yeah, you can tell, I mean, there's cheaper plastics throughout, but I've been pretty impressed with the overall ride and drive of this vehicle. Fuel economy numbers are below. They are pretty magical. I was pretty impressed with that. That was in eco mode, and you do have to set eco mode every time you start the vehicle up. So it's not something that I've been driving around town with, but in town, fuel economy hasn't been ideal. Now, I know we don't usually talk about it, but it has gone up when I drop off my kid from school or pick her up or do some stuff just literally within the town here. I'll be getting almost like 11 liters per 100 kilometers. So it depends on what you're doing with it. If you're on the highway though, you should be pretty good. But yeah, like I said, I've been impressed. Road noise is good. It's pretty average for the segment. And space in here is good, even though you have lost a little bit over the previous generation. Essentially, the car has gotten a little bit bigger, but Nissan has tried to shave off the height. They don't have the ground clearance numbers that are official yet, but I suspect that it has gone down from the previous generation, but the height is lower because they're trying to make this a little bit sportier, so you have lost out a bit when it comes to headroom, but overall the vehicle is about the same. I think you also lose out like a couple liters of storage and overall cargo capacity. So it depends on what you're looking for, but if you're a family, this is good. I mean, I did a grocery run with this today. I literally filled the trunk. I had like 6 grocery bags, a bunch of stuff from the hardware store, cat litter, all this stuff fit no problem in the trunk. You've got 60-40 split seats in the back. So anybody who complains about the size, I would argue go take a look at any other compact in this segment. You're in business for it. But let's talk about the interior. The first thing that I noticed is it felt familiar. It feels a lot like the Kia Forte that we drove. You've got these circular air pods in the middle. You have a stuck-on tablet style infotainment system. It's an 8-inch screen. You don't have navigation, as I mentioned, but Apple CarPlay and Android Auto will replace that for you. You just have to plug it in every time. And you do have USB-C, which is a nice plus to have. So it works. It just feels like it's copied a little bit from what else is going on in the industry, but it works. Dual zone climate control, heated front seats, heated steering wheel, nothing to argue about. Again, at the price point, this is what you'd be looking at, so it's pretty comparable. Overall visibility and everything is good out of it. I find that the rear visibility out that rear window, it's just a little high. I believe Nissan said in their press release that they tried to work on that rear trunk space. They tried to lower the line of it a little bit so you could see out the back more. I don't necessarily notice it. The thing is, I couldn't even tell you if I drove the previous generation Sentra because it's such a forgettable car. It really was the worst one in the segment, and now with this generation it has more or less skyrocketed to the top when it comes to a consumer-friendly, price-savvy shopper. It's not necessarily your sport option. If you're looking for something with a little spunk or flair, you're probably going to want to go with, obviously the Volkswagen GTI or Volkswagen GLI. You can go with the Kia Forte GT, or you can go with the Honda Civic, even though the SI, they're not selling it here for 2021 in Canada, at least not at this point. But if you're looking for something that gets the job done on a day-to-day basis, this might be the way to go because they have improved it considerably. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. And I know you probably expected Mr. Complaints on this episode, but there really is nothing to complain about. I'm very impressed with it. And this again shows us that Nissan can make a vehicle that is worth buying. They just have to be interested in doing it. Because as it is right now, the other vehicles they sell they're okay. This one stands out to be very good on price, but an actual good competition compared to what else is on the market. It is really close. I actually might want to buy one of these if I was in the market. I don't know if I would go with the pumpkin flare on this. We've got the two-tone orange and black that costs $335, but you can get a little funky with the colors, which is nice. And the two-tone kind of works for it, especially this time of the month. It's October, it's spooky month, so it fits. But why are you going to consider the new Sentra? The engine is nice. I have no issues getting up to speed, even when I have a load in it, whether it's cargo or passengers. It's very comparable for the segment. The CVT, I know it's always a dirty word, but I haven't had any issues with it. Sometimes when you are trying to get up to speed, it gets a little lost. You're not quite sure where you should be with it, but eventually you'll get going, and it hasn't been a problem. You're going to be looking at this car because you want something that is different. I think that it is a very handsome look on the outside, and space on the inside is good with a comfortable design. Zero gravity seats help with the leatherette, but the price, it's good. $26,000 Canadian for this trim, fully loaded. Unless you absolutely want embedded navigation, you don't lose out on too much. Sure, you could have ventilated seats, but we're only seeing that on some models in this segment at this point. And because it's priced so well, you could get, say, a Honda Civic Sport sedan for about the same price, and then the Hyundai Elantra Luxury, which is a new for 2021 model as well. You're looking at a little bit less, but you do get less with it. So pricing works out very well, gives them room to put in a high-end trim. If they want to do a sport trim, which seems to be the new popular trend in this segment for North America, They could bring back the Nismo, but they could add things like ventilated seats, true leather instead of leatherette, and navigation, add a little bit more to the price and bring it up to that top end when it comes to the compact segment. But overall, this has gone from pretty much the worst to one of our top picks. It's incredible to see the transformation with a car that really was pretty miserable into something that is worth driving. So good job on Nissan for this. I expect you're going to be seeing a lot more of these on the road as dealerships pick them up. Maybe not so much in the David S. Pumpkins trim that we've got here, but it is really worth your time. If you're in the market for this, you must consider. Before, I would say 100% skip the Sentra, but nowadays they've really improved it. Good job, Nissan.